Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today we are going to be going over caring for yourself and starting off with stress management and some ways that I kind of try to practice and cope with stress. Stresses is one, prayer. Prayer is always a big one for me. Two, using distraction, going and talking to friends, family, going to do something to try to get my mind off of it, because obviously when I get my mind off of it, I'm not thinking. And the more I try to just sit there and think about any stress I have, the more I'm just gonna, obviously think about it, because you can't really just make it go away like that. You could always distract yourself, and eventually you're gonna be like, I didn't even think about it. So that is a good way that I handle stress as well. With this, we also have positive self-talk. Positive self-talk is huge because it just reaffirms that you are like there is good, that there is good. You need to be thinking about that, because the more like you practice positive self-talk, the more it becomes a habit, and it just feels so natural and so relieving whenever you can just have that positive self-talk, but also just positive outlook on everything. Just because you can always see bad if you look for it, but at the same time you can always see good, because there's always good out there. There's always something that you can focus on that is going to be positive, and I encourage you to look for that. Meditation is really good as well. Journaling and counseling. There are some great counseling services that we will get into a little bit later. Physical activity is another big one. Helps you feel like you got something done, but it also it really just feels like it empowers you for the day, because you've gotten through a hard task. And there's also some scientific stuff behind it that I don't exactly remember off the top of my head, but it is very good for stress and anxiety levels. With this, there's the Bono resources, and I know that we have at least 3 great counselors. I can't remember if we have 4 total counselors, but we at least have 3. They're free, and they are amazing people, amazing to work with, and you can reach out to them. You can call the Health and Wellness Center. But there's also, you can go to Health and Counseling Services on www.spu.edu. The Student Health and Safety Conduct. Next, we're going to get into boundaries. Now, with boundaries, this is important because we need to know like what we're going to accept from other people treating, like how we're going to accept other people treating us. Like, for instance, like, you don't want someone just constantly talking bad on you, or like constantly putting you down and stuff like that. You got to have boundaries. You got to be like, hey, like this is enough. Like, I'm not comfortable with this, stuff like that. On the flip side, it's also important that you have boundaries for how you should treat others. You should think about what my boundaries are, and then when you're thinking about others, you should increase those boundaries. You should make them even more safe and friendly, and just to be sure. And you can really communicate these boundaries, and you can determine the boundaries of others in particular by treating them very kindly and just seeing how they respond. If they respond negatively to anything, you're just like, okay, like they're not comfortable with this, let's back off on that. Like, I won't do that anymore, no matter what it is. You might think it's dumb that they got upset, but they got upset about it. It obviously bothered them, and you should respect that, because if something upsets you, you would want someone else to stop what they're doing. So I think it's just important to kind of look at those nonverbal cues, but also the verbal cues, and just kind of figure it out. And a lot of times people just tell you, hey, like, I don't like that you did that. And when you hear that, like, okay, you should just say, okay, I understand, I'm sorry that I made you upset, offended you, made you sad. Any negative emotion you should take, and you should remember, hey, my friend, my partner, my colleague, even the stranger, like, they don't want me doing this, so I should back off and not do it. And how do we communicate our boundaries with others? Again, sometimes people look for nonverbal cues, but also just saying, hey, like, that made me sad, that made me upset. I'd rather you not do this. Stuff like that. Like, being open and honest goes a long way, and people knowing how they should treat you as well, because not everyone knows, sadly, how to treat other people, but when you communicate, it helps them build this knowledge. And so boundaries are important because we use it all the time. We need them in the workplace. We need them with relationships. We need them with parents, friends. It's important for our emotions and our bodies, and it's just, you really need to set boundaries and be consistent with it. That way other people know what to expect. And it's also important because you need to know your own self-worth. You need to know how great you are, and how you deserve to be treated, because everyone deserves to be treated fairly. Everyone deserves to be treated like they're loved and cared for, and you should always know that you have that self-worth, but also that other people also have that self-worth. And so you should, you always hear, you should treat people how you want to be treated. And it's just always really good to make someone's day instead of making it worse. And you should just try to be consistent with it. It might be uncomfortable at first, but the more consistent you get, the easier it is for people to treat you how you want to be treated, because they know how you treat them and how you want to be treated as well. And it is important to communicate these boundaries with others. And that is it.